Hello, dear students. Welcome back to our news channel. Students, today we have two news articles. So the first article, you'll be aware of it, right? So this is regarding how Gen Z forced changes in Nepal. So first we need to understand what actually happened in Nepal, right? So see, one thing that social media has become quite important in our life. Okay, and social media is not just for fun but also for work, especially for many people. Like they run their small businesses through social media, they connect with friends, family, and it is also used even to express opinions about how the government is doing, you know. Now imagine that one day government bans 26 social media apps overnight. No Instagram, no Discord, no YouTube, nothing, right? So this is exactly what happened on September 4, uh, when Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli banned major platforms because they hadn't followed certain registration rules. And the ban angered young people, especially those in Gen Z. Gen Z meaning that's people born roughly between uh, 1997 to 2012. Okay, 1997 to 2012. So for them, social media is like oxygen, and it's part of how they live, study, work, they communicate. Basically, they express their opinions regarding everything. Okay, so what started as a frustration quickly turned into mass protests. And at first, they were peaceful, but soon things became violent. So, by the end of the day, 34 people were dead, 1,000 were hospitalized. Several government buildings, including Parliament and Supreme Court, were attacked and even set on fire. So, Prime Minister resigned just a day later. Their Prime Minister resigned, and this was a huge movement for people of Nepal. Okay, now you might wonder, was this all about social media? Well, students, it's not. The ban was only the final straw. ओके, जैसे होता है ना कि काफी टाइम से बहुत सारे इश्यू चल रहे होते हैं, लेकिन कोई एक ट्रिगर पॉइंट होता है. सो दिस वाज लाइक अ ट्रिगर पॉइंट. द एंगर हैड बीन बिल्डिंग फॉर इयर्स, एंड हियर्स व्हाट वाज actually going on. See, yes, so many young Nepalis, they couldn't find good jobs, and they were leaving the country to work abroad. Corruption was widespread, and governments kept changing, but problems stayed the same. So, at the same time, students, Nepal's new constitution in 2015, it has been rotating among three main leaders. Okay, three main leaders: Mr. Oli, Pushpa Kamal Dahel, and Sher Bahadur Deuba. So, despite the constitution being progressive, it didn't bring the improvements people hoped for. So, this made Gen Z feel ignored and frustrated. Okay, social media gave them a voice, and they didn't just use it for memes and selfies. They used it to organize protests, spread information, even run small businesses. So when the ban came, it wasn't just about apps disappearing. It felt like their freedom and future were under attack. All right, understood. So how this what makes this surprising different, how this protest was different? See, Nepal has seen big uprisings before. Okay, जिसको जन आंदोलन कहते हैं और पीपल्स मूवमेंट. तो एक तो 1990 में देखा गया था when it was fought to end the panchayat system and establish a constitutional monarchy. And then Jan Andolan 2, it was fought to end absolute monarchy and create a republic through new constitution. But 2025 uprising was different. It wasn't led by old political parties. किसी political party ने इसको नहीं चलाया है, किसी ने lead नहीं किया है. It was driven entirely by Gen Z, young activists who are not having any traditional political ties. So they organized all these protests through Instagram, Discord, and other online platforms. So you can say that this was a digital revolution, and it shows how technology can shape politics in the modern world. Right? So think about it, na? Past revolutions require months of planning and secret meetings. But today, a viral post or even a group chat can bring thousands to the street within hours. Right? But students, there's a darker side to this story. On September 8, when protests turned violent, government buildings and politicians' homes were attacked. And some groups blamed pro-monarchy supporters, मतलब जो लोग है ना नेपाल के किंग को सपोर्ट करते हैं कि वो वापस आ जाए, तो उनको ब्लेम किया गया. Why? Because in March 2025, there were already pro-monarchy rallies that had turned violent. Okay. Gen Z activists insist that they were not responsible for the fires and destruction. उन्होंने ये बोला है कि हम लोग उसके responsible नहीं हैं, हम लोगों ने नहीं किया है. And they believe that outsiders basically infiltrated their movement to create chaos. Okay. तो Gen Z जो activists हैं वो कह रहे हैं कि जो बाहरी लोग हैं वो आए हैं, उन्होंने ये सारा create किया है chaos. Okay. But for now, students, there is no solid proof of who caused the violence. Of course, the decision has added another layer of tension. और tension इससे ज़्यादा बढ़ गई है. अब new government बनी है, ठीक है? So after the prime minister resigned, Nepal faced a dangerous power vacuum. There was no leader, and हर तरफ angry population was there. Okay, so to prevent total collapse, former Supreme Court Justice Sushila Karki was appointed as interim prime minister. Okay, she was appointed as interim prime minister, and she was chosen after discussions among Gen Z leaders, the army chief, and other key figures. But here's where it gets tricky. She dissolved parliament immediately, and she called for new elections by March 2026. All right. According to Nepal's constitution, dissolving parliament like this is most likely illegal. ये ऐसे नहीं हो सकता. Okay, and constitutional arbitrary है. And normally it can happen only if multiple steps are followed, including a Supreme Court review. But none of that happened this time. इस बार ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं हुआ. Now there's a legal battle ahead. Political parties and lawyers, they are already calling the move constitutional. कि ये unconstitutional है totally. But students, what happened next? See, अब क्या होने वाला है? देखो, नेपाल के जो young protesters हैं, they have achieved something historic. They toppled a government without being part of any old political party. अब देख रहे हो कि किसी political party से affiliation नहीं है, फिर भी उन्होंने पूरे government को हटा दिया. But their journey, of course, it is far from over. They now face two challenges. One, they must turn protest energy into real solutions. Real solution तो जरूरी है ना, protest तो ठीक है, लेकिन अब solution क्या आगेगा? So it's one thing to criticize leaders, but it's another to actually run a government, actually run a country. तो ये चीज तो अब देखनी है. Regarding Supreme Court, see, Supreme Court might overturn the Parliament's dissolution, जिससे instability और बढ़ भी सकती है. Right? Now, students, देखो आप ये सारी जो news है, this is a classic test of democracy. Can young people reshape politics peacefully, or will old patterns return? So we'll be watching closely as Nepal writes its next chapter, है ना? But one thing is clear, right? The Gen Z has shown that their voices matter. All right, so that was all about Nepal story. अब students एक छोटा सा article एक और है, Red Planet Blues. See, for centuries, humans have wondered, is there life out there apart from Earth? अब Earth के अलावा कहीं और भी life है कि नहीं? तो 1976 में नासा का जो वाइकिंग मिशन था, मिशन that carried out experiments to search for life on Mars. Okay, so one experiment showed signs of metabolism, मतलब कि एक possible hint है life की. But another test found no organic molecules, which actually left scientists bit puzzled. Then 1996 में क्या हुआ? Meteorite from Mars caused excitement. Okay, this meteorite, it caused excitement. So when scientists looked at it under a microscope, they found shapes that looked like tiny fossils. उनको tiny fossils के shape जैसे दिखे. लेकिन बाद में जब studies हुई तो फिर पता चला कि these shapes could also form naturally without life. So the mystery remained. Then in 2000s, things heated up again. Some teams, they reported finding methane gas. कि इन्हें मीथेन गैस मिली है मार्स के एटमॉस्फेयर में. अब देखो अर्थ में मीथेन ऑफन कम्स फ्रॉम लिविंग थिंग्स. ठीक है, अर्थ में जो मीथेन है वो लिविंग थिंग्स से आती है. तो ऑफ कोर्स ही बात है कि अगर मार्स में भी मिली है मीथेन गैस तो थोड़ी सी एक्साइटमेंट होगी ही कि क्या शायद वहां पे भी लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म हो सकते हैं. बट लेटर मेजरमेंट्स डिडंट कंफर्म दोस लेवल्स. ओके, सो इट वाज लाइक ट्राइंग टू कैच अ गोस्ट. दे वन मूवमेंट गॉन द नेक्स्ट, है ना. थोड़ा कुछ होता है, पता चलता है, लेकिन फिर दोबारा फर्दर टेस्ट होते हैं, फिर वो सारी चीजें गायब हो जाती हैं. In 2005, reports even suggested that life could exist inside Martian caves. And NASA, उसके बाद NASA ने एक correction issue किया कि there was actually no solid observational evidence. So once again, hope faded. Now, it अब September 2025 में क्या हुआ है? NASA का Perseverance जो rover है, it is currently exploring Mars. So it brought us fresh data. It discovered mudstones in an area called Jezero crater. So ये जो rocks है, it contain carbon, ferrous phosphates, sulfide minerals. अब why is this important? Because on Earth, these kinds of minerals often appear alongside organic material, which is basically linked to life. So this doesn't mean that कि life है मार्स में, पर ये क्वेश्चन रेस करता है. क्या क्वेश्चन रेस करता है? क्या पॉसिबल है कि एक टाइम पर मार्स में कभी किसी टाइम पर लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स एग्जिस्ट करते होंगे? और could these minerals have formed through biological processes? So scientists are very careful now. They didn't want to claim that they have found life. Instead, they said that the only way to know it truly is to bring these samples back to Earth, and we'll do the further research. Okay? So who knows, students, the answer to whether we are alone in the universe might be hiding in these tiny rocks, है ना? अभी पता नहीं. अभी देखो जब आएगा सैंपल तो और फर्दर रिसर्च होगा, तब हमें पता चलेगा. ठीक है? So students, as you go about your day, think about the questions, like how you can be the part of the answers, right? Like the youth of Nepal asked, why can't a government do better? Scientists who are researching on Mars, they found they are asking, are we alone in the universe? So these are some powerful questions, so you can think about it. And students, that's all for today. Thank you for joining me today. Stay curious, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.